My dear brothers and sisters, I wish to welcome you to the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today, dear friends in Christ, I'll be sharing with you some few things about the encounter between Jesus and Simon Peter, and of course, the three ways that Jesus offers to us in order to arrive at that life of happiness, a life of fulfillment, a life in which we walk side by side with God. Remember, our gospel passage today is a continuation of where Peter made his profession of faith, where Peter said to Jesus, "You are the Son of the living God. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Because Jesus was asking them, "Who do people say that I am?" And after that, he asked them, "Who do you say that I am?" As I shared with you in the previous Sunday, Jesus was not having any kind of identity crisis. Rather, Jesus simply wanted to know how much, how far, how his disciples and apostles have come to know who really he is. My dear friends in Christ, after Peter answered that he is the Messiah, Jesus also said that it was not flesh and blood that revealed this to you. Rather, it is my Father who opened this knowledge for you. And this will help us to understand why Peter was thinking differently today. Because after Jesus announced his Paschal mystery, which is his passion, that's suffering, his crucifixion, his death, and his resurrection, Peter could not take that. Peter could not put it side by side. He could not reconcile that this is the Messiah, yet he's talking about being crucified and dying and all that. So he could not reconcile the two because he had a human understanding that this Messiah is a political Messiah. So the gospel passage today is somehow about the changing of our orientation. Because many of us are also thinking like Simon Peter. We always think that as Christians, we are exempted from suffering. As Christians, we are exempted from misfortunes. As Christians, we are exempted from sudden death or accidents or failures. And this is why many of us lose our faith. This is why many of us, abandon God in any little challenge, struggle, crisis, or trials. So whenever we experience something we think is contrary to our faith, we abandon our faith. But Jesus wants us to understand today that suffering is not something bad, but suffering is also salvific. Suffering is also redemptive. So, dear friends in Christ, if you look at what Jesus said to Peter and you compare it with the temptation event. Now, I like to make a simple difference. In the temptation event, when the Satan literally means adversary of God, or someone who thinks in contrast, one having a contrary opinion to God's opinion. That's Satan. Now, if you look at the temptation event, what Jesus said to Satan is not the same thing he said to Simon Peter. Now, what's the difference? The difference is that, I'm going to say it in Greek. In Greek, Jesus said to Satan, "Hupage Satana." Hupage Satana, which means be gone, get lost. Get lost. That's what Jesus said to Satan, the demon, in the temptation event. What Jesus said to Peter today is different because Jesus said to Peter, "Hupage opisomo Satana," which means get behind me, not be gone, not get lost, but get behind me and become my apostle. Get behind me and become my discipulus. A discipulus is a student, a learner, an apprentice, a pupil, a listener. So, Jesus was basically saying to Peter, do not be my teacher. Do not lead me. Do not show me the way. I am the one to show you the way. So get behind me and take your place. Your place is that you are still a learner. You are still my follower. You are still my disciple. You are still my student. Get behind me. Now, Jesus gives us the three ways through which we can arrive to happiness, to a life of fulfillment, to a life of peace, to a life in which we remain in the presence of God. And what is that? He said, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. Let's talk about the deny yourself. The self, as we know, is like a conglomeration of appetites. When you talk about the self is, identical to appetites, passions, emotions, desires, like desire, inclinations, gluttony, and all that. So what Jesus is saying is that we should say no. When your body desire to have premarital sex because you're not married, say no. When your body desire that you drink 10 bottles of alcohol, say no. When your body desire that you want to do something like retaliation, say no. It simply means be in control of your passions, be in control of your emotions, be in control of your appetites and desires. And for us to be in control of this, we need the grace of God. We need to allow God to come into our lives. And that's why St. Paul tells us today in the second reading, do not conform to the world, but be transformed through the renewal of your minds. When we get connected to God, our minds become transformed. And St. Paul invites us to offer our body, offer ourselves as living sacrifice. When we offer ourselves as living sacrifice, we are no longer controlled by our passions. We are no longer controlled by these appetites, but we are controlled by the will of God. So the difference now take note of this difference in Christ, that one of the reasons why Jesus referred to Peter as Satan is because he was thinking contrary to the will of God. He was looking for the easy way, but the hard way is the only way. It's not like mathematics made easy, English made easy. No. Suffering is part of life, and through suffering we are purified. Through suffering our consciousness is invoked. Because sometimes we lose a lot because we are so confused, we are so carried away. We need to be called back. Take up your cross. It's a sacrifice. Embrace sacrifice. Embrace discomfort in order to do the will of God. If you look at our first reading today, you see Prophet Jeremiah complaining about how miserable, how discomforting, his life has become simply because he is the messenger of God. It is like that. When you become a Christian, do not expect that your life will become easy. Like Peter is thinking that the life of Christ should be easy. No. But the truth is simple, that the more we align with the will of God, the more we experience fulfillment. Fulfillment is not to be found in material things that we possess, but fulfillment and peace of mind comes when we pass through this suffering and we are able to arrive in the presence of God. The final one is that Jesus says, follow me. And that's actually what he said to Peter, hupage opisomo satana. Be my follower, learn from me, do not lead me, I'm the one to lead you. So dear friends in Christ, as we celebrate this day, the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time, let us ask the Lord to grant us the courage and the confidence we need, and again, the docility, the open-mindedness we need, so that in times of crisis we don't give up. In times of suffering we don't give up, but we believe that after the suffering comes the victory. May God bless you. Please share this video. Thank you.